the late mover advantages that you see Indriya having at this stage?
I think it's a very good time for us to be entering the business. So I think Mr. Birla has made the right move of entering the business at this point of time, because there's a lot we can learn from what people have already done, whether it is the independent jewelers or whether it is the national jewelers. And we have to take on both that learning. Now, the advantage that we have is that we don't have any baggage of the past. So we are starting afresh. We are building all our technology platforms on the latest technology that is available just now, and really building off that. We don't have to transition to, the latest platforms. And I think with all our consumer research, and as is evident from the market is that consumers across the length and breadth of India are much more digital savvy. So we have to make sure that we are using the best of the digital capabilities and technology as we bring in our point of view of the brand and experience into the market.
So what is the initial learning on ground?
See, firstly, touch wood, we've had a very good response to what we put out there, which is why we are feeling encouraged to accelerate from where we are. I think the big thing that consumers tell us, and I spend a lot of time in going around our outlets, even competition outlets actually, and just hearing what people are saying. What I hear people say about us is that they feel our stores are spacious, they feel they are welcoming, they feel that they've got a choice there for whatever kind of occasion that they want a jewelry, we do have it there with us. And they find a freshness in design that we are able to offer them. And more importantly, and this is something that I'm very grateful to all our people who work in the stores, is that they find that the knowledge that the people who have from our side, who are talking to them about the jewelry, they understand their sensibilities and the jewelry. In fact, we have 3 to 4 week bespoke program for each and every person who's in our store before the person is licensed to operate in the store. So that's a training program that we have designed by us with our designers. And we're not teaching people to how to sell. We are teaching people how to how to really talk about beauty, fashion, and sensibility based on the person who's sitting in front of them.
Coming back to staff, you talked about them undergoing a 3 to 4 week training. It is one of the pain points that the industry has, because the pace at which we are growing as an industry, the quality of staff, and primarily the front end, because that's your last mile connect, we are not able to keep pace. Is it good to train people from outside, or you are finding that people who are from the industry can be better trained? What is really working for you? Because you have, if you're opening 100 stores, I can only imagine how many people you would be absorbing in the next couple of years.
I think it's always good to have a mix of people who have experience and people who are new. If we have the right training program and people have the right mindset and attitude, I think anyone can excel in what they do. That's the belief that we have. And that's exactly the way we are going about hiring for people in store. What I find extremely delighted by when I speak to people who are joining us is that they feel very proud to be part of the Aditya Birla group. They feel a sense of pride to be associated with this group and the professionalism that it brings. And at the same time, once they've joined the group and they've gone through our 3-4 week training program, even the most experienced of people who have been in jewelry say that, for the first time I feel I have become a jeweler from a salesperson. So they feel that there is a lot of value being added with all the learning that we are giving them. And basically, we are just imparting them with not any rocket science learning, but really bringing out the art and craftsmanship of design and jewelry that exists in India, and being a bit more consumer-centric towards being able to talk about it in the same sensibility as the person who's sitting opposite them.
What is your sense of how a brand like Indriya should be localizing its approach? And if you could give us some insights on that, both from a product perspective and a customer service perspective.
I think let me answer the latter part first. I think from a customer experience perspective, it's about making sure that the store even though it is an Indriya store and has a signature which goes across stores, is something that consumers feel it's a store for me and it is not a national brand. I would not like consumers to enter into our store and feel I'm entering the space of a national brand. I would like them to feel this is my space. And I think that my space comes when you're able to bring in the cultural nuances of that region, which could be something as small as what is the language they are spoken to, which is a very, very obvious thing, to what is it that you serve them when they enter and what are the festivals that you are celebrating with them, etc. I think the other one is a bit more about making sure that consumers have designs which are to their liking. And it's very interesting. What I have seen, at least through all my interactions and all the studies that I've read, it's not as if a person is seeking exactly the same classical design which is traditional to that region. They are very happy to see that a bit contemporized, in fact, a bit fused with what may be there from another region and having that nuance and buying it. As far as she or he feels that it is part of who I am and what I'm going to wear it with or what is the occasion that I'm going to go for.
One of the dilemmas that we have in the industry is that whenever I speak to retailers, a lot of them talk about how difficult it is to get manufacturers to do product development, come up with innovative ideas, make something which is very exclusive. And your entire proposition of Indriya hinges on uniqueness and exclusivity. And on top of that sits this whole idea of 15,000 SKUs. So tell me, how are you managing all of that in terms of the supply chain?
I think the consumer in a fashion and beauty industry is always looking for something different, something fresh, something unique, which is why we do have a very strong in-home design team, which is constantly looking at trends, predicting trends, and trying to do some cutting-edge design stuff. And they have the license to be edgy, to take the risk, and bring in some freshness into design in our stores. So that's what's happening. Managing the whole gamut of 15,000 plus SKUs and from manufacturing to the shop shelf, I think we have to thank a lot to the world that we are in today, which has got a lot of technological solutions, a lot of AI learning through which you can keep refining your models. And I think those are the tools that we use to make sure that we have the right piece at the right time in the right place.
Okay, so in-house design team is actively involved in bringing out the freshness and...
Yeah, so 80% of nearly all the designs that we have in our outlet, in any given outlet, would be stuff which would be designed with our design team.
If you had to point out 5 things which will create the brand stickiness, what would those be?
I'll talk about maybe 3. So I think first would be, so I'm going to not talk about it just about as a brand, but 3 things that we as a team want to be focused on as we go forward and bring our point of view and differentiation that we want to create and freshness we want to create. The first is the brand itself, Indriya, which, as I said, we want to position ourselves into being a brand who understands you and understands your design sensibility, and more importantly, understands the love that you have for the jewelry, and not simply the love for the occasion on which you are gifting or getting the jewelry. So I think that's a big differentiation and move that we want to bring. And a lot of our thought is going to be guided by that, including the brand name, which is Indriya. The next is experience. Most of the experience in today's world is happening offline from a physical point of view and discovery online. So in both those experiences, we want to be focused on and bring in, using the best of technology, understanding the consumer needs and where we can delight her and bring that. And we will constantly be on that journey. And the third is design itself. So we want to challenge ourselves to bring in the freshness of design. We believe that there can be ways in which you can bring that difference in design if you have a different design philosophy, We want to be known as a brand which is design centric. So I think those are the big three differences that we want to bring in.
When do we see Indriya break even?
See, that's a function of our ambition and scale that we want to create. So obviously, nobody likes to be part of a company that is losing money. Everybody likes to be part of a company that is growing and is creating value and profit for the group. And that's going to be our endeavor. We are just now 6-8 months into our journey. So we are not fixating ourselves on that being a milestone that we are trying to go towards. I think what we are trying to go towards is what's the right model, equation, and pace that we set for ourselves. I think in the next 18 months, we will know that. And then the rest of the business metrics will follow. Of course, just like any business person or any person leading a P&L, we will be very disciplined. We will be very hard-nosed on the cost and the learnings of how we can be more streamlined. That we will be. But at the same time, we will innovate, we will experiment, we will delight. We will not hold ourselves back in terms of being very consumer-centric.